a good story is a good story. If Ronald D. Moore was involved in this, then I am convinced that the stories were good. And I am convinced that they are worth turning into a TV show. So Disney Plus, if you're listening, which you're not, make it so. Oh, probably the wrong reference here, but do it. Do it. Did you notice this very cool article? Maybe you missed it, about this the very first TV series that was that George Lucas was working on back in the days when he was still in charge of Lucasfilm. He was planning a very high-tech TV show using the latest green screen techniques and motion capture and whatnot. And he would be a serialized Star Wars story. So in a way, what is happening now at Disney Plus is what George Lucas first conceived many years ago. He wanted to create a television series based on the underworld of Coruscant. And it would be called Star Wars Underworld. It would be about all the bad guys. It would tell the stories of all the, Jabba the Hutt, the Mafia. A lot of this stuff has been developed in the expanded universe, in the books, and also in some of the animated series, of course. You have Darth Maul, heading this crime syndicate. We've seen him appear in live action at the end of Solo. So they did take a number of those ideas, but the actual television series got canceled. It never made it into production. They did a couple of months ago. There was some leaked footage of tests that they did to basically the green screen tests, how they were going to film this. And this was classic. Back in the days, George Lucas was all about virtual sets, and as we all know, the prequels were filmed mostly against green screen, which made it very hard for the actors to act convincingly, because if you can't see it, requires so much more energy than if you are in a real environment. They kind of backtracked on that later on with the production of the sequels. They did create real sets again, and I think it definitely helped. I don't think they will ever go back to fully, green screen based sets. And it's not even necessary anymore, because The Mandalorian introduced another way of filming for a relatively low cost, and that is this circular stage with huge LED screens on which they can project anything. If you've seen the documentary about the making of The Mandalorian, it shows you how it is done, and it is fascinating, absolutely fascinating. The combination of that 360-degree set in combination with some of the stuff that they filmed outside, it creates a huge tapestry that I don't think you would be able to do with green screen. But anyway, George Lucas thought, what is the cheapest way to create very exciting-looking television in the Star Wars universe? Let's just use what we've learned during the filming of the prequels and make TV with that. Now, according to what we already knew, the preparation for that television series was already very, very far ahead. They had written many, many scripts for multiple seasons. What we didn't know was who was writing these scripts alongside George Lucas. Well, it turns out that one of the things that I've always said should happen actually happened, and almost happened. And that was involve Ronald D. Moore in Star Wars. Let him write scripts for Star Wars. He's one of the best science fiction storytellers that I know. I have huge admiration for Ronald D. Moore. What he did with Battlestar Galactica, I don't think we'll ever see something as good as that. The writing was fantastic. Ronald D. Moore is... I don't know of any writer-director who is this good in especially telling character-based material. Well, it turns out that George Lucas invited him and a bunch of other writers to help him write the scripts for Star Wars Underworld. Now, here's what's written in this article on Empire, empireonline.com. He was talking to Collider, the website Collider, Moore says, I was one of several. There was a bunch of international writers that they assembled. We would gather up at Skywalker Ranch. This is all new information. Nobody knew that Ronald D. Moore was involved in Star Wars. We would gather up at Skywalker Ranch once every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that, and we would break stories together. And right after, we'd go off and write some drafts and bring them back, and George and we would sit down and critique them, and then do another draft and break more stories. It was great. It was a ball. It was a lot of fun. It didn't happen ultimately. We wrote, I'd say, somewhere in the 48 scripts, something like that. The theory was that George wanted to write all the scripts and get them all done, and then he was going to go off and figure out how to produce them, because he wanted to do a lot of cutting-edge technological stuff with CG and virtual sets and so on. And so he had a whole thing he wanted to accomplish. And what happened was, we wrote the scripts, and then George said, okay, this is enough for now, and then I'll get back to you. I want to look into all the production things. And then time went by, and like a year or something after that is when he sold Lucasfilm to Disney. So we were on the brink of getting a Star Wars television show penned, co-written by Ronald D. Moore. Now, call me intrigued. What happened to those scripts? Are they salvageable? Can we please bring back Ronald D. Moore for a television series? I mean, if you can give us The Mandalorian with Jon Favreau and so many talented writers, if you can do a prequel for Rogue One with, probably good people involved as well, why not bring back a television series? Why not just do this for Disney Plus? With our modern technology, we could do so much better than the green screen stuff that George Lucas had in mind. A good story is a good story. If Ronald D. Moore was involved in this, then I am convinced that the stories were good. And I am convinced that they are worth turning into a TV show. So Disney Plus, if you're listening, which you're not, make it so. Oh, probably the wrong reference here, but do it. Do it. That's it. Make it so. Do it. Give us that TV show. Bring back Ronald D. Moore. Give him a movie. I don't care. I want Ronald D. Moore to write for Star Wars. He actually already did. He's good pals with George Lucas. Honor that legacy. Bring back Ronald D. Moore. Don't let him waste his time with, other stuff. He's been doing Outlander for how many years now? That's fine. That's great. That's cool. But it's not Star Wars. Come on. Give us Ronald D. Moore.